Oh, hey there, everybody. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. We are here to talk about fighting, boxing, brawling, all of those and more. Um, I did a show. We talked about what we thought was gonna happen in the Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight, talked about the ins and outs, the particulars and whatnot. Um, That's the most amount of boxing I've ever watched in my life. I watched pretty much the entire program. I saw all the fights, and it left me feeling things. And to join me in my dissection of the aftermath of this situation is none other than CEO of Riot Stickers himself and special, sometimes occasional guest co-host Sharpie Riot. So let me bring Sharpie out of the digital green room to join me here in discussing such matters. Sharpie, how you doing?
Pretty good.
I'm glad to hear it, buddy. I'm doing okay. It's a little warm up here for November, which I guess isn't bad, but it's like if it's going to be cold and dark, I'd rather there be snow because I like snow and there ain't no snow, you know?
Yeah, I'll let you have that.
Yeah, it's a lot warmer where you are, right?
Not right now.
Really?
I mean, for here. Yeah,
Really?
I mean, for here, it's not great.
Huh. How about that? How about
Yeah.
that now? Why don't let's not deter in any way, shape, or form right off the bat. Like how are you feeling initially right after the fight, or even more so, how are you feeling at the beginning of the fight and during the fight?
Well, to start off, I know that you had done the pre-show, and I was a little bit active in the chat on that, saying that, if Tyson didn't put him down in the first round, I figured this was like an agreed upon sparring event, right?
You did say that. You did say that.
And I feel like you were kind of there too, but I will say the second he walked out and I saw the knee brace, I was like, this isn't good.
Shaky stilts. He was on shaky stilts.
Yeah. So, from what I said on your pre-show, as soon as I saw that knee brace, like I pretty much did a 180 just on that walkout. I was like, this isn't good. As with almost any competitive sport, even if it seems like an upper body thing, it never really is,
Interesting.
So, I knew things weren't going to go well.
Well, what's interesting too, I mean, he comes out in like the car and he's making a whole production, a whole show out of it. And Mike, here's what's interesting to me. Like going back to like the press conference where he smacked Jake Paul and just his sort of demeanor at that event. And then he comes out, he's nothing fancy. He's just wearing his smock and he just shuffles down to the center stage, super serious. He's got his guys traveling behind him. He's just, there was like a real sort of humility to whatever he was, doing, whatever his trip was. And I feel like it was like, definitively highlighted or explained, elaborated on in his tweet after the fight. I think it's all connected. I'm going to read it here real quick. Did you see this tweet that he tweeted?
I did. Yeah.
So the tweet here, Mike Tyson says, this is one of those, because obviously to not bury the lead, Mike Tyson lost. We all know that. We know that Mike Tyson lost, quote unquote, to Jake Paul. I don't even know if we could really qualify this as a loss. And I'm not saying like, yes, I understand that he lost by judgment or lost by score, but I don't think there was ever the moment that Mike like entered that ring and was as frail as he was. I don't even think it was a matter of, it was no longer a matter of whether it wasn't a competition anymore. It was an endurance trial. how long can Mike Tyson last? I think everybody realized you don't even have to be like an expert on boxing to see that this dude was incredibly uncomfortable. He was struggling to keep himself up, and he was just trying to hold on. And this is what he says in the tweet. He says, "This is one of those situations where you lost but still won. I'm grateful for last night. No regrets to get in the ring one last time." So he's emphasizing right here that in fact this is his last time in the ring. And he goes on to say, "I almost died in June. I had 8 blood transfusions, lost half my blood and 25 pounds in the hospital, and had to fight to get healthy. To fight, so I won. To have my children see me stand toe to toe and finish 8 rounds with a talented fighter half my age in front of a packed Dallas Cowboys stadium is an experience that no man has the right to ask for. Thank you." And to that quote, to that comment, whatever, to that tweet that he tweeted, I say that I see it suddenly shades all of his attitude to this whole thing. That's what this was about for him the entire time. And I really, truly, genuinely believe that that was the case, even with the slap now. Like, that's what I think. I think that before he had his brush with death in June, I think that Mike was probably in a completely different headspace and a completely different health level. And after that, it suddenly changed. It's like, okay, I'm going to still do this, but I'm just doing this so that like I can say that I did it. It's no longer like, I think pre-accident or pre-whatever, he was legitimately thinking that maybe he could knock out Jake Paul. And now after that, it was just more about like seeing it through to the end. What do you think, Sharpie?
I mean, I agree, but I kind of read the tweet as like when he talks about his kids, he was saying like,
yeah,
you know, he wanted them to see him do something, but I think it was more about see that he could, you know, kind of set them up with that money financially.
Sure. Of course, the money obviously played into it as well.
But I don't think that Tyson believes that he really went 8 rounds with Paul. Like, Paul could have knocked him out at any moment in that fight, whenever he wanted.
Well, I will say in the commentary, sorry to cut you off. I'll let you finish in 1 second. I just want to add, there's a lot of people that are, you know, weighing in and doing the analysis of this whole thing that are way more experienced and knowledgeable than myself, who are saying that the reality is that Jake Paul, it looked like the way his performance, and that was blind to me. I don't know how to gauge throwing a punch. Apparently his performance was not, he might not have been able to knock down. He threw a couple of key punches at Tyson, and Tyson was able to absorb them even in his weakened state, is what they were saying. So maybe he couldn't have knocked him out. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't see that. I mean, when he got those shots, I mean, Tyson wasn't guarding himself. He was on his heels trying to stay up. And Paul,
that's what it seemed. It seemed like he was just trying to stay up. I agree.
Yeah, but you know, whenever you see knockouts, it's like you usually get a good shot in and rattle someone, and then you can just tee off on them. And the times that we had that in the fight, Paul just kind of backed away and let him like regain his situation. Like, I mean, just in my opinion, like I mean, I don't think he knew that going into it, but I think probably at least by the second round, he was like, yeah, I mean, I could take him out whenever I wanted. And I also don't think that, you know, after the first round that Paul would really worry about, you know, trying to tee off on him and then taking a counter punch that would knock him down. Cause I think he realized that Tyson wouldn't have the power to knock him down. And I'm gone.
Hello? Are you there?
Yeah.
Oh, you kind of froze. Are you?
I see that.
Are you? But you can like. Oh, so you see that you froze as well, but I can still hear you, so that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think Jake Paul was more concerned about keeping the show going as long as it possibly could. Like he wanted it to go a full 8 rounds. I mean, to be honest, that whole whatever you want to call that fight, that exhibition, whatever it was, paled in comparison to the previous fight, which the women's boxing championship fight, which was just again I've seen next to nothing when it comes to boxing, but what a match. And totally puts the Jake Tyson, the Paul Tyson match to shame in how elegant and how much heart those women had in boxing and whatnot. It was really spectacular to see. That really, in my opinion, was the highlight, at least, event. I mean, the anticipation of Jake Paul and Tyson, like I think everybody, it's just like, is he going to do it? Is he actually going to like what's he going to look like in the ring? And very quickly, again, I don't want to get political in any shape, sense, or form, but he really did he was doing a Joe Biden thing, man. He was just like he was barely standing up, man. It was a bummer.
Yeah, I don't think I'm on anymore, by the way.
Yeah, of course you're on.
Oh.
Wait, you can't. Hold on. I'm hiding. Hold on. Wait a minute. All right, Sharpie, I'm going to kick you out and you come back in.
Yep.
Okay. All right, Sharpie's going to come right back in as we continue our discussion. Yeah, man. And then there's some people who are saying that like it was a fixed fight. Some people are saying that it was a scripted fight. I don't know. I don't think it was scripted per se. I think Jake Paul was much more aware of Tyson's situation, even though apparently it was like Tyson hid that from everybody. Here we go. Hey, Sharpie, there you are. Much better. What do you think about what everybody's saying? Everybody's saying that this thing was like scripted in some way, shape, or form. Do you believe that at all?
No, I think that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean that'd be crazy, right? That's like that would be so outrageous. The idea that Tyson would comply with something like that, and B, that he was in any like mentality or like ability to like follow any kind of script is ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, like I had said originally, but if it wouldn't be scripted. I mean, again, they might have said, "Hey, like, let's not knock each other out. Like, let's do a sparring match. Like, let's not knock each other out." But that didn't seem to be the case. And again, I think it was just his legs. When you don't, stand on one leg and try to punch someone as hard as you can. Like you're not going to be able to. You can't hit someone very hard if you're standing on one leg. So, he just had no power. He just, stayed in a defensive fight. And Paul even kind of said it in a post-match interview that, I think he knows that he probably could have dropped him whenever he wanted, and he just didn't have the heart to do it. Do you think, there's I've seen a lot of discourse. I'm seeing all sorts of discourse. It seems like people are all over the board on this thing. I see some people saying, look, this was a fight. This was a fight. People paid money for this fight. Like someone should have knocked out somebody else. Like no matter what the situation was, the fact that Mike Tyson is 58 boxing someone who's 27 already makes the event kind of null and void as like an actual fight. So it's like this weird thing. It's like on one hand, you have people who are like, yeah, what did you expect? It was a 57-year-old fighting a 27-year-old. You have other people, for me personally, so not like in this world at all. I'm frothing at the mouth going, oh my God, like Mike Tyson still has this fight in him. He's going to fucking his spirit seems so unbreakable to me that like and it was unbreakable because he did last those 8 rounds, like whatever, despite the fact, even if Jake Paul like kind of allowed him to, he stayed the course. Sure.
He stayed the course.
And here's the thing. People are like, oh, no one knocked him out. But, I think it was like 1989 or something. And, Tyson fought Spinks, and it was like the biggest match ever. And people had to pay, $60 to watch it on pay-per-view, and Tyson knocked him out in like 40 seconds or whatever it was. And then everyone was pissed, So like, what if someone knocks someone out right away, then you're pissed, or if it goes the distance, then you're pissed. Like,
I think Jake Paul, being the promoter as well, was kind of like, oh shit, like if I don't if I don't give people, value in this fight, then like, I mean, that's a problem as well. But I mean, he would be like, here's the thing. Yes, Jake Paul made $40 million. Yes, Jake Paul has proved that he is, in fact, a boxer. As to what level kind of boxer, that's another story. But like that he is able to box and whatnot. But that this was always going to be, he was never going to win any kind of respect from anybody for this fight. Like no one was going to respect him for taking on Mike Tyson. And for me personally, I said this, I think, in the pregame, but I believe this to the nth degree. Jake Paul, I'm seeing online something that he's been suspended from boxing after Mike Tyson fight controversy. I don't know if that's true.
No, I think that it's just saying that like they're gonna be that he'd be suspending having another fight soon.
Oh, well,
just like a clickbait type thing.
He's not. Look, he hasn't won anybody's respect, man. That's the bottom line. He has. He thought maybe that somehow this was going to bring him respect, or that maybe, by playing the heel, and then at the end, I'll show him respect by bowing to him. It just seemed like such a disingenuous kind of like too little, too late, sort of thing, after all that shit talk and all that, I don't know. And then at the end of the day, to like even have your hand raised, you won. Like, what did you really win, dude? You fought an over the hill Mike Tyson. Here's what I wanted to say before. Jake Paul bought the fight. And here's what I mean by that. Jake Paul has the money and the resources to go to Mike Tyson and be like, hey, I'll pay you $20 million to fight me. He didn't like earn that fight. He didn't earn it through skill. Like every boxer who becomes a great boxer by, working really, really hard and getting to a place where they could challenge and fight a good fighter. Jake Paul goes to a guy who's way over the hill past his prime, the greatest there ever was, and says, here's $20 million, fight me. See, look, this is why I'm the best, because look what I'm doing for boxing. And it's like, the reality is like, you didn't do shit, bro. You just, it's, what it's like, it's pay to play. It's kind of like pay to play.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, but I think Jake Paul is doing the only thing that boxing can do at this point. So kind of like at the end of the Tyson era, like when he started losing.
Yeah.
It just feels to me that, people kind of figured out ways to win a boxing match where there's not a lot you can do about it. So like, and we actually saw it in the women's match. You can just lead with your head. You can cut someone open. Yeah, they take a point away, but the devastation it does to that other fighter, it's so hard for them to win then. And so like, what are the options at that point? You either take a point away and let them keep boxing, which the person that's bashed open's odds go way down. Or you can call the fight and say, hey, like you were headbutting, this match is over, disqualification. So what do you do about that? You could have people wear headgear. That's the only way to stop it, right? But who's going to want to watch boxing matches with headgear? What's the other resolve of it? Well, if people are going to try to headbutt, make it that you can physically stop them from doing it. That's called MMA.
Huh.
MMA has replaced boxing. So at this point, like, I think Jake Paul's doing the only thing that boxing is good for, which is like kind of just this like, celebrity event type thing.
Interesting.
I think that's where the
you mean like turning it into a spectacle is the only way to kind of save it.
Yeah,
At this point.
it's not professional wrestling to where, the outcomes are predicted, but, in a way it's kind of like going down the road of what pro wrestling is, to where this is just a thing that people watch for entertainment. Let's have big names in there. I mean, Jake Paul's boxed more former MMA fighters than he has boxers. Like, why is that? Let's think about it. Like, those people are good fighters. They're MMA guys. They're great. They're good at boxing, but those guys have more notoriety than any boxer. So isn't he better off boxing an MMA guy than a boxer? Because people will know those names. He's realized that sport is now just an entertainment platform of names. And so, I think he's going down the right trail with it. If you really want to see a fight, then go watch MMA.
So I see. I don't disagree with what you're saying. What you're saying makes a lot of sense. What at least in my, once again, in dipping my toe in this area of where I have no expertise, and like I'm just sort of like just listening to different opinions. One like group of opinions, I guess maybe these are the boxing purists, who, for them, it's like the purity of it, like the honor of what it was and what they remember it being. And not like what you're talking about is like, hey, boxing needs to evolve if it's going to survive. And it's got to be this thing that it can't be what it used to be. And I think the people that loved it for what it was see it as it's evolving now to compete in that sort of marketplace that you're talking about, where, yeah, it's kind of like in this weird in-between place. And yes, there is an element of the sort of spectacle and theatricality of in the form of this like influencer YouTuber boxing era that's sort of developed over the last few years, of which Jake Paul very much is at the center of and put himself in the center of and like has leveraged it. But Jake Paul is going around being like, hey, I'm like this legit boxer. And sure, like you might be like a legit boxer, but anytime you step in the ring with a real boxer, you lose, because you're not in the same league as a real boxer. And I think that's what that's what some of these other guys were saying about like, hey, like he couldn't even put down. You're saying he did it because he was taking pity on Mike, or he was holding back. And I think you might be right, because he needed to get to that 8 round. He wanted that 8 rounds as much as Tyson wanted those 8 rounds. But this other idea of like, well, he's actually, he even with his skill level and despite Tyson not being what he used to be, Jake Paul still couldn't, like Tyson was able to absorb some of those punches that Jake Paul was throwing at him. And Jake Paul threw 78 punches that landed on Tyson. Tyson took 78 fucking punches over 8 rounds. I mean, that's gotta, in your understanding of boxing, that's gotta mean for something, especially if his legs are like as wobbly as stilts.
Yeah, sure. I mean, but that's what I'm saying. I feel like, again, so he would hit like a 2-punch combination.
Yeah.
And if he landed one of those decently, then that's when you normally would like go in for the kill, and he just wasn't doing that. So, there's been matches before where someone outlanded punches on someone else, but they still lose in decision because all the punches they hit were just like jabs, So, like when the judges score, they're not that, they look at how many punches you threw compared to how many you landed, but it's also like, did you have shots that rattled the guy? Maybe you didn't even put him down, but it still rattled him. And, we saw a few of those, but not that many, but,
What did you think about him sort of bowing to Tyson at the end?
Your laundry's ready.
I know. How did you know that?
I have that same noise.
Yes, the laundry is ready. This is absolutely true. What did you think of the end part where he was like, bowing to Jake Paul. No, Jake Paul was bowing to.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of liked it. Because, again, and so think about it. Jake Paul's brother is over in pro wrestling now. Like, Jake Paul's treating this sport a lot like professional wrestling. So he did all the stuff leading up to it, to be like, in wrestling, they call him a heel. It's like the bad guy.
Right. Yeah. I'm familiar with the heel thing.
So he's like being a heel, and then at the end, like, he breaks away from that, shows his respect. Because as much as he's turning this into like just like a fun entertainment type sport and he's playing the character, like, I do think that he genuinely likes boxing and has a lot of respect for.
Yeah. Oh, I agree.
So I like that he did it. It was funny though, because like Tyson tried to gesture back to him and then he kind of like pulled away. I think he thought maybe Tyson was gonna like try to hit him there.
He was afraid of Tyson at the beginning a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
I agree. He was cautious. He wasn't sure. I mean, again, nobody knew. Like, what if Tyson just like jumped out and just, threw a combo at him? It's sticky, And do you know what else is sticky?
I do.
What else is sticky?
Go for it.
What else is sticky?
RiotStickers.com.
That's right. RiotStickers.com is the official sponsor of the Frumess channel. If you need stickers, look no further and go to RiotStickers.com and pick some up. And guess what? We have a special promotion with CEO Sharpie Riot right here. This guy must be crazy. Don't let this guy inside of a boxing ring because he's wild and crazy. You know why? He's got a special deal. You go to riotstickers.com/Frumess. That's FRUMESS, where you can get 100 die cut stickers for $33. That's insane. So if you want a sticker of Mike Tyson's tattoo and you want to take that sticker tattoo and put it over your face, you can get that sticker in the exact shape of Mike Tyson's tattoo. That's what a die cut sticker is. It's made with a what, Sharpie? What did they make it with?
A laser guided scalpel.
You say laser. I always say computer guided scalpel, but yeah, laser. Well, he knows better than me. Laser with a laser guided scalpel. I think yours is better. Computer guided scalpel, laser guided scalpel. So they can cut these stickers. Sharpie, he cuts these stickers to the exact shape. That's what a die cut sticker means. So like I said, if you want to get Mike Tyson's tattoo, if you want to get Jake Paul's stupid face, you can get anything you want, any shape you want with this special deal. Now, guess what? Guess what else you can do? You can double it. You can get 200 stickers for $66. You could triple it. You can get 300 stickers for $99. For under $100, you can get 300 stickers with free shipping. All you got to do is go to riotstickers.com/Frumess. That's FRUMESS. Link is down in the description. Do not hesitate. If you've got a band, if you're making a movie, if you're going to film festivals, get your stuff printed up. Get your band logo printed up. They do t-shirts. They do banners. They do buttons. There's nothing they can't do. In fact, let's let the guy from Less Than Jake tell us what's up. So we're gonna be right back with a little bit more on Mike Tyson and Jake Paul right after this sponsored message.
Posters and promo cards, there's nothing we can't print for you. From stage backdrops to bass drum heads, we can print on shirts, we can print on hats, we can print on pants. Cheap prices and high quality, quick turnaround times and free shipping. We also offer free artwork support, great customer service, and so much more. We are the bomb. RiotStickers.com. Riot Stickers, we are the bomb. RiotStickers.com. Riot Stickers, we are the bomb. RiotStickers.com. Riot Stickers, we are the bomb.
And that is a promise. Okay. So we're still talking about this. What did you think about what Logan Paul said to Mike Tyson after the fight when Mike Tyson made the joke
Yeah, I think that might have been one of the worst parts, really.
I mean, ridiculous.
There was
right?
I mean, there was no reason to do that
It was pretty
for
stupid.
sure. Yeah, I mean, again, I think, the last fight that Tyson did before that was the one where I forget who he boxed with, but it was like
Roy,
during yeah, it
Roy
was like
Jr.
it was during COVID lockdown, and they literally did do a sparring match. And I think part of the reason he wanted to do this is I think he kind of looked at that and was like, I don't want that to be the last thing I did. So I think that's part of the reason why he really wanted to do this. And as much as we're all being like, oh, like it's kind of cool that we're all shocked that he wasn't what we thought he might be. And again, in my opinion, it was just that leg. Am I gone again?
Interesting. So so you're saying if the leg wasn't where it was, that he would have had a lot more throwing power, and that he probably would have been able to really be on the offensive with Jake Paul, because he would have been. We just lost Sharpie. Sharpie, if you can hear me, come back in, buddy. Come back in. Hopefully Sharpie can get back in. Is this a message from? No, it's not a message from Sharpie. Let's see if he comes back in. Shit, what was I just talking about? We're talking about, what the hell was I just talking about? We were talking about Mike Tyson. If his legs, right. Oh, here he is. Hold on. He's back. What I was saying is, what you're saying is if his legs were more stable and sturdy, that he would have had more power. You would have been able to go on the offensive more.
That's what I think. Because again, that last match was only 4 years ago. Like he was 54, now he's 58. His body looked better than 4 years ago. He looked way stronger in his upper body. So it doesn't make sense to me why, he wouldn't have been able to do what he could, but I just think he couldn't move around. He knew that if he took a hard shot that he'd go down because of the leg. So yeah, and if the leg wasn't bad, I think that he could have actually been 100%, in that fight.
Interesting. It really makes me kind of wish that it was that was. I mean, there's nothing. I wanted nothing more than for him to like really just beat Jake Paul and like just really give Jake Paul a run for his money. And I think that Jake Paul's in a position now where there's a lot of people who I think are going to lose interest in Jake Paul and what like I don't really know where he can go from here, unless what he'd have to do. He'd have to fight Floyd Mayweather, I think, who's already challenged him. There's none of the younger pro boxers want to take Jake Paul seriously enough to fight him in any way, shape, or form. But Mayweather would do it in a heartbeat. Do you think that Jake Paul could beat Mayweather?
I haven't seen him in a while, so I don't know what he's like, but I do know he's younger than Tyson. So I mean,
by 10 years,
and he's
about 10 years younger.
Yeah, and he's a smaller guy. I mean, that would be the problem. They're not. I mean, it couldn't even be a sanctioned fight, because if it's a sanctioned fight, you have to be in the same weight class.
Yeah.
So that would pose. So if they did it, they would have to do like an exhibition, which I don't know that anyone would care.
Well, he boxed Logan Paul in an exhibition, Yeah,
and that's what I'm saying. They could do an exhibition, but it wouldn't be a real fight. I mean, I think it was cool that the Tyson fight was actually like a sanctioned boxing fight, like for real at the commission.
Now, if Jake Paul had knocked out Mike Tyson, though, like nobody would be like, "Oh, Jake Paul beat him." Everybody would just be like, "He's fucking 57 years old." Like, what? I mean, of course you knocked him out.
Well, I think you made a good point though by saying like, where do you go from there? Because I mean, if anyone that even that could box age-wise, like, Tyson's the biggest that you can go to. So yeah, how do you go up from there? But I don't why wouldn't a real boxer box him? Like, even if he gets like not someone that's like a title holder, but someone like a notch below that that's on their way up to there. Like, why wouldn't they box him if they're going to get that amount of money?
I don't know, but he has tried to rope people in. He like talks crap. He talks trash on people like on Twitter, trying to get people to fight him. And what's interesting too is that, you know, he has fought one boxer, exactly one boxer, and he lost. And not only that, I watched the highlights of that one. Not only that, the commentary around that one was like Jake Paul, like just could not hold his own against Tommy Fury. Was just a superior athlete in his form and his prowess and his skill to Jake Paul. You know what I mean? And so I don't know. And here's the thing. The illusion will get shattered if Jake Paul fights a real boxer, because Jake Paul very clearly, like, there's a reason why he keeps going after guys that are either, you know, 15 to 20 years older than him, or guys from, like what you said, MMA guys are good fighters, but still there's something gets lost in translation from boxing to MMA and vice versa. It's apples and oranges. It's like skateboarding and skiing, right? I mean, sorry, snowboarding and skiing. Two different philosophies, two different mentalities, you know? So it's like, and so what's interesting is I feel like when these MMA guys get into the ring, they're fighting at a disadvantage because they're not engaging in combat within their home court advantage.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
So it's like a weird, I mean, these guys are used, they go to the ground, they take each other to the floor, like they do all sorts of stuff. Like you can't do that with boxing. It's just fists and blocking, and that's it. And being fast. The energy expenditure is entirely different. There's just so many different factors. It's interesting what I learned about from this Tyson Paul fight is like how important the neck muscles are. You know,
for sure.
That if you get hit in the head or the neck, that if you have a strong neck, you can kind of absorb a hit. And that's why you see that archival footage of Mike Tyson exercising his neck. You see Jake Paul exercising his neck. And that brings me back to the point about, like, Jake Paul is throwing these punches at Tyson, and Tyson's kind of like he's managing somehow. Is it because he just has that neck from all the conditioning that he's done over the years? He's just somehow managed to, you know, do it. I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah. I mean, like, again, I think that the shots he did take, I mean, he took them well, but he did stumble back. And then,
yeah,
there just wasn't that, you know, again, normally when someone stumbles back, that's when, like, the boxer's like, oh, like, here's my chance, you know? But, you know, he stuck him with some decent ones and he took them. I'll give him that for sure. You know? And again, doing that when you don't even have like that solid base of like both legs, you know? So that makes it even tougher for him to stay up.
Was there any point at the beginning of the fight where you thought, oh my God, Mike, is it like, was there anything that Mike did that made you go, oh my God, he's actually going to give Jake a run for his money? Like, was there any point in time?
Yeah. I mean, I kind of thought that maybe, I would say in the first 30 seconds to a minute, I felt like Tyson came out strong. I did notice though that, like, not even like bobbing and weaving slower, but like you could see that his swing was a lot slower. So, you know, I was like, I don't know if that will work, but yeah, I mean, that first 30 seconds to a minute, it was you kind of thought, you know, maybe he will be able to drop him, you know, he looked really good there.
I mean, I know he said that he was biting his glove because it's just something that he does when he's in the ring. But to me, it felt like he was doing it out of like anxiety and fear. Because there were some moments where I really thought he was going to fall over. Like, I really did. Like, yeah. And so I was like, oh my God, is like, he's like, that's him just like doing everything he can to, like, you know, appease his own nerves I mean, listen, what he did was brave and courageous in the sense of like, yeah, sure, he was going to get paid $20 million to do it. But like, that's not, I mean, think about it. Like, think about the pressure, everybody has these expectations of you, your reputation, your legacy, all this stuff. And it's a good thing that he smoked a lot of toad poison, because it sounds like his ego had been so decimated that he wasn't really concerned with legacy, in the sense of like, it's very possible that it's not very possible. I'm guaranteed to lose my final fight if I step back in this ring, but it's so important to me that I just set out to do what I said I was going to do: box this guy and was half my age and last all 8 rounds. Whether he had help,
he didn't go down,
right? And the fact that like he whether he had help from Jake Paul or not, that's the reality. It's exactly what you just said. He did not go down, not once.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, like, even going down, like I'm saying, like when he did swing, when he tried to swing hard,
yeah,
like you could tell that if he didn't, especially if he didn't connect, or even if he did, you felt like he knew that there was a chance that he could just lose his balance from swinging. And if that would have happened, sure, that would have been embarrassing.
That would have been so embarrassing.
So I think the fact that didn't happen, that is a win. Like, it didn't look bad, like if I was him, like, I'd be like, yeah, I'm proud of it,
Yeah. I mean, listen, if I were him and I lasted that whole thing, I would be proud too. I think that tweet, I believe that tweet came from a real genuine place, but I also think that was a great like strategy for saving face,
Mm-hmm.
like a tweet like that. Like, he's the first one to say, like, I don't give a shit that like I might have technically lost, but I won. And the only person that like that should really matter to, like the only person who needs to like worry or care is Mike himself.
Right.
Like,
well, there was a loser though.
Yeah.
Do you know who the loser was?
Who?
Netflix.
Oh, because of the outages, or?
Netflix was the person that lost the fight. If you want to call someone a loser, in the whole ordeal, it's Netflix.
Just because of the outages, or because of false promise of?
No, their system was junk. I mean,
yeah,
no one really got to watch the fight live, which was what they advertised. You're going to get to watch this live, and almost everyone was watching, buffering happen, or they were watching it on a delay, and they were watching it where it was pixelated. So in my opinion, Netflix lost. That's who the loser was from this boxing match, was Netflix.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong in that. In that sense, you're not wrong. I think so. I like this idea of like, who's the loser, who's the real loser. I think we can both say for certain that Tyson, despite technically losing, comes out on top still in the situation. Netflix lost in terms of like, they did have a lot of technical issues. I'm sure it's only going to get better though. They're going to fix it, and it's going to be even better and better and better. Obviously the biggest loser of all really is Jake Paul. Jake Paul just made he made a ginormous fool of himself by even doing this, whether he's, as some people are saying, he's revitalizing boxing or whatever. It's just more the idea of him just like, fighting a 57-year-old man. And, it's like, oh, like, taking it, like counting it as a serious win, even if it was a sanctioned fight, even if it's what Mike Tyson had wanted. And when Mike Tyson had asked for a sanctioned fight, it makes me wonder, did he ask for a sanctioned fight because he legitimately thought he could knock Jake Paul out, and that obviously before he had gotten injured and whatnot, like was he just like, yeah, I'm going to knock this fool out, and I want this to be a sanctioned fight as a result. And then that kind of backfired on him when he had
It's possible, but I feel like they're both like masters at promoting, You know, they're both, like, even though Tyson had like Don King promoting his fights, like he was an amazing promoter. I mean, to me, the slap was completely a promotional stunt, but like Tyson's always done
that was
that
my
stuff.
next question to you. Was the slap really because he got his foot stepped on, or was the slap because of was the slap meant to be for promotion?
I think promotion, and I think they're both amazing promoters. And I think the fact that, you know, you'd even say if you're going to say one of them lost, maybe it's Paul because, you know, he fought the older guy and, you know, he still didn't knock him out. Like, I think he wants to be like the heel, and he knows that that's good for, you know, his promotion.
Yeah, I guess. But because of that, I don't think people are not going to take him seriously. He just never is going to be taken seriously as a result. And I got to tell you, these guys like circumventing, you know, all these other guys who get to be the best because they demonstrate it through skill and dedication. Not that he hasn't been dedicated, but again, he has lots of money. He threw his money around. You know, he threw his money around.
Yeah.
He was able to get this fight. You know, and it's just, to me, that sort of cheapens. It most certainly cheapens the accomplishment. And how much of an accomplishment is that really? I think the bigger accomplishment for Jake Paul, and the place where Paul really wins, is that he highlighted the women's boxing, and he turned on a whole, you know, slew of people to like, hey, women's boxing's pretty what's up. And he, you know, to that, I think that in that way he won. In innovating this Netflix streaming thing, he won. But that doesn't mean that, I don't think that makes him necessarily a good boxer. And there might be, listen, he might evolve into just being like a Don King of some kind, you know, just like a personality. Yeah, he did a little boxing, and then he just sort of, you know, stepped aside and focused more on that.
Well, that's a good question too. So you said that, you know, and the women's fight was good, really good.
Yeah.
You know, I think a lot of people weren't happy with the outcome, but
I was pretty bummed about that. That was a bummer.
But even if that's the case, like, that's the kind of thing that might make people come back for more. The fact that they feel like,
true,
you know, the winner didn't win, you know. But so, do you think that that the event created boxing fans, new boxing fans? Because I don't.
Okay, so I'll put it to you this way: as a non-boxing fan, I would never, for me, buying a boxing match on pay-per-view is something I've never has interested me. But the idea of watching a fight between people, here's the thing, for me, it would have to be like celebrities or something. Like, it would have to be, as you were saying, it would have to be some sort of spectacle. I'm there now. I'm there. I'm like, okay, sure, this is cool. And if it's on Netflix streaming and we have access to Netflix, sure, I'll fucking watch it. Why not? Like, I'm down to watch it. That's where I feel like there's a new market, or there's like a casual, non-committal fan market, or whatever market for casual people who don't, you know, who aren't going to buy the pay-per-view, but would watch the match if it was in a certain, like, in a certain medium. Sure. And, you know, yeah, the novelty is that it does have to be live. Like, it's kind of goofy if it's not live, or technically not live. And Netflix did kind of shit the bed in that realm. But to their in their defense, slightly, I mean, the moving wheels and working parts of trying to get something like that off the ground, and, like, you know, it's the first one. It was a bumpy ride, but I am sure they're going to probably be doing a post-mortem and trying to figure out, okay, how do we make the next one better, and who can we get for the next one? There's like a world, there's like a market, there's a niche where you've like actors or comedians boxing each other. I would watch the fuck out of that. Imagine Bill Burr getting in the ring with somebody, like, you know, like, I would watch the fuck out of that. It would be amazing to me.
They did do that though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying. Like it might have been like MTV did it.
Well,
I
there's
remember
Celebrity
like,
Death Match, which kind of is
well, there
a
was
fictionalized
there
version
was
of that.
that, but no, they did like a celebrity boxing type thing.
They should bring it back. I mean, that's perfect. That's the perfect venue for Netflix.
Yeah, I agree. Here's this one.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
Nothing. Me? Just hanging around.
That's the people over at Netflix. They were
Is
just
that-
hanging around.
They're just hanging around. Was that Beetlejuice though?
Yeah. But he was in like
Right.
a server room at Netflix.
Yeah. That's great. That's
Yeah.
great. Any final thoughts on this whole scenario, situation, debacle?
I don't think so. Like again, yeah, I guess just my final. I'm glad it happened. I will actually. So this is kind of like, we talk about the Misfits is a big part of this channel, and
Yeah.
this is like why when people talk about the Misfits putting out music, why I'm just not on board with it. Like, you want it to happen so bad, but if it does, it's gonna be 58-year-old Mike Tyson with a hurt knee coming
You're
out.
so right.
And so I guess that's my final thing. We all want this stuff all the time. But it never goes the way that you want it to. And then you're let down, and you might as well just like always wish that it happened and then it didn't.
Yeah. Wow. That's really insightful. And, I think I've dwelled on that in like a different kind of way. For me, I always say, how can he go backwards? But I think that's the better way to kind of look at it to an extent. But all right, here's my one caveat to that. I think that was a really great analogy for that. This was a good analogy. Here's my one caveat though. Look at, 60-something-year-old Danzig singing those Misfit songs. Like he can, they're still performing. They're performing better than they ever have when it comes to like doing the old material. I guess you know what it is. It's within the realm of writing new material. As you said, it's literally, that's how you have to look at it. It's not about the performance.
Yeah.
It's about like people want new Misfit songs from these old men, and they're just not. It's going to be 57-year-old Mike Tyson if they do. Yeah. Solid observation there. That's good.
So, I think honestly, I mean, again, I still thought there was a chance he'd come out and knock him out, but I think we got, as much as we all thought that, I think we got the more likely scenario. And, I guess I'm still glad it happened, but it'd be just as well if it didn't,
Yeah. I listen, it is what it is, I guess. I'll close with this. A long time ago, we once tried to imagine who would win in a fight, Harley Flanagan or Doyle. And for me personally, I said it was Doyle. I mean, I said it was Harley.
Yeah,
Despite Doyle's height and muscles, I think Harley would take him, and especially if he got him down to the ground. And I think a really good boxing match actually would be Doyle versus Jerry Only. Brother against brother. Great. That would be fun. Let's make it happen, Jerry. Uncle Jerry for the kids. Do it for the kids.
Yeah. Did you have a seltzer today?
Oh, crap.
I didn't. I
forgot. No, I do. Literally in the other room. I have that brand. Is that the strawberry one or is that the Bellini Bliss?
Strawberry.
Yeah, I have the strawberry too.
Our streak is over.
No, but I have it over there. I just didn't.
Yeah, but our streak's still over.
No, it'll come back. It'll come back. Listen, I want to thank Sharpie.
We have to start at 1.
I want to thank. Yes, it'll have to start at 1. I want to thank Sharpie for coming on and weighing in on this. We'll have him back real soon for another themed show. He always comes up with good ideas. Make sure you hit up Riot Stickers. We'll see if Jake Paul fights somebody very interesting next time. Maybe we'll come back on here and hope and pray that he gets knocked out, because that guy needs a knuckle sandwich.
See, but
He does.
that means that what he's doing is working. Like you want
Yeah,
to get
you're
knocked
right.
out so bad. He's winning.
Yes, I do. Yes,
Yep.
fuck. Jake Paul is winning. God damn it.
Yeah.
I guess indifference. It's not about like hatred is a form of passion. Indifference is the real enemy. You don't want to. Indifference is bad. You don't want indifference.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
All right. We're gonna. How do we say goodbye here on the channel? We say peace and hair grease, and we will see you next time to discuss more things that we discussed.